Welcome, everyone, to Friday 15 with Master B2B. My name is Brian Beck. I'm here with Andy Hoare for another session of our Friday 15 podcast, LinkedIn Live, and everything else. I'm excited to be here, Andy. We have a big announcement today all about Andy Hoare. It's all good. Welcome, Andy, to a Friday 15.
Those are my favorite announcements, by the way.
Of course it is. Of course, of course they are. But before we get into our Friday 15 topic today, we want to do our breaking news. Okay, everyone, let's talk about Google. Google Q1 earnings. You see this, Andy? Alphabet reported a 22% surge in first quarter revenue to $110 billion. Net income of $62 billion, 81% increase year over year. And what is it all coming from, Mr. Hoare? Give us the punchline.
Well, this is the amazing part. So they're hitting these ridiculous, look at that net income number. I mean, $62.6 billion and $110 billion. I mean, this is like what you would read about in textbooks about the kind of, margins you'd want to have in a business. But it is coming. The surprise here is they revealed for the first time how much of their money is essentially coming from their chips. I mean, did you know Google had a chip business?
Right.
So they make something called TPU chips. It's like tensor powered units. So everybody's making chips, right? And these are their alternative to NVIDIA because there aren't enough NVIDIA chips out there. Plus, Google can make the chips to serve their own kind of vertically integrated circumstance. So they own it from the silicon all the way to the selling point. And that gives them a huge advantage here over some other companies. But what happened to the stock? I think it went up a little bit, and it's going to be taking a little bit of a hit because they announced they're spending. They're increasing their spending on infrastructure. $190 billion is what they're planning to spend on AI infrastructure in 2026, which is double. Okay, double the enormous number they had in 2025.
That's crazy. Well, and it's fast. It's the same thing Amazon's doing. They in their earnings release this week, they talked about building chips too, and they're spending $200 billion. I mean,
it's just this enormous amount of money coming in the front door and then a bigger number going out the back door. But it's a land grab right now. We've talked about this.
Totally.
And so there's like 4 or 5 hyperscalers is what they're called who are battling to win this because, if you can control where the AI is sourced from, you are going to have an unnatural advantage here. And there's such a scale component, which is why for certain the government's going to be involved in regulating this because these are becoming natural monopolies.
Do you think, and that's the thing, Andy, I mean, do you think these companies go out and spin these businesses out as their own entity, AWS, or in the case of Google, their chip business? I mean, in a sense, they're more valuable almost on their own with the other businesses separated out, don't you think?
Well, that's an interesting notion too. I mean, they're developing so many of the components that, hey, is there going to be a Google chip business that could be listed on the, the NASDAQ that would have comps similar to what NVIDIA's got? Because that could be undervaluing itself as a part of Google, or Alphabet, I should say. That's another thing. It's actually Alphabet at the end of the day. It's not even,
Right.
So, Wow. I mean, these numbers are just amazing. Now, the part I still haven't figured out, and we don't have time to talk about it now, but you and I have brought this issue up, is how is it that the AI component of their search business is not cannibalizing their traditional search business?
I don't know. That confounds me.
I mean, you and I do it, right? We go to Google, we get the answer. I never go and look at any of the other results. Who is? And if they're not, how is Google monetizing that? I have a mystery to me.
I mean, this all has big implications for our B2B operators because, again, it's a shifting nature of marketing, right? And where you stay relevant. And so, to me, it's still, I feel like, ChatGPT and all the different Claude and all the different engines have to introduce paid advertising, and just a matter of when, right? And how. And so, and then Google too, right? Because who's clicking on those links nowadays?
Which is going to be advantage Google again because ChatGPT has no experience selling ads.
Right.
Anthropic is kind of taking a moral stand on a lot of this stuff. They're probably not going to be happy about that. Plus, they're in the enterprise, which means they probably don't need to show as many ads.
Yeah.
But Google is in the consumer space, and I mean, are you going to have to optimize for AEO, GEO, and still SEO, even at the same level
Yeah,
you were before? They're just
I
going to
think
extract
you
more
are.
money out of people. I mean, this is insane.
Look, I think at the end of the day, there's going to be use cases that emerge for the answer engines as well as the clicks through to websites. So it will balance out at some point as the answer engines get better and better and people understand how to use them. It's going to be interesting to see, though. And so, yes, I think the answer is you are going to always have to optimize for both SEO and AEO.
No, I think
But
increasingly so. Like it
yeah,
used to be there was a little bit of the pie was this size and it was all SEO, and now
yeah,
the AEO, GEO is carded, but now the pie is
yeah,
getting bigger,
right,
and
right,
so it's relatively bigger and absolutely bigger as
yep,
well. And so I guess the thing is, you know, and guys like Bill Ackman who run large funds have
yeah,
got this right. Bet
yeah,
on Google because even though Google is going to cannibalize itself with this vertically integrated thing from chips all the way to the selling point, who's going to compete with
right,
that?
right,
I'll
amazing.
tell you who's not going to compete with that. Probably ChatGPT, who seems to be losing altitude right now. They're
Well, we need to keep an eye on that, Andy, because these things are going to change. They change, and it's the search engine race from 20 years ago. Same kind of thing, right? So
except I feels more like the browser race. We talked about
maybe,
this, that
maybe,
it
yeah,
feels a little bit like ChatGPT is becoming the Netscape of the space.
could be.
And so we will see. We know what happened to Netscape,
Yeah, we'll
went into
see.
the upper atmosphere and then fell right down to earth. I hope that
They,
doesn't happen to ChatGPT because we need the
yeah,
co the competition. But I mean, we're gonna find out because
yep.
if they're gonna go public and people are losing faith. I heard they had a down round actually.
Oh, did they
They their
really?
valuation is slipping. They
Mm,
missed their numbers,
yeah.
their expected numbers for this year. So watch out.
Okay, we'll see. Well, let's get into first our topic, but let's first get into our public service announcement. Everyone want to remind everyone that our forum is available. It's no cost, practitioner only, lots of conversations. We've got a lot of folks, hundreds and hundreds of folks in there. And there's great networking opportunities. If you are a practitioner, an executive at a manufacturer, distributor, or brand, please sign up. Go to our website, Master B2B, and check it out. So, Andy, we have a big announcement today. We're going to talk about Bot to Bot, the new future of B2B commerce, which is a book which you have coming out. This is a preview today, all about AI. Wow, Andy, tell us a little more. Why did you write this book of yours, and give us a little background?
Well, who would have expected AI to be such a big issue,
Right?
No,
So,
it was
yeah, go
time
ahead.
to put my money where my mouth was. I've been talking about this for a while, and to be honest, and I'm sure you had similar notions when you wrote your book.
Yeah.
You have to kind of wait for the right thing to come along. So back in 2015, it was Death of a B2B Salesman. That was an inflection point in the industry. I think it made the point. I think I was right about order takers,
Hmm.
you know, disappearing. And that's largely the case. I mean, nobody's calling a distributor now and asking for Betty to put it in the system. I mean, there's obviously some version of that, but pretty much that stuff, the easy stuff, is being self-serve on the website. And that was a big change in the industry.
Yeah.
Now, AI, I think, is actually an even bigger change that we're going to see.
Yeah.
And
So,
so, yeah, good.
does tell us about the book. Tell us about what's in it, what you talk about here, how it's organized, stuff like that.
Yeah, so 7 chapters, some of them like organizational design, customer service, technology. There's a channels chapter, a big one about content and data. It's
Yeah.
filled with dozens of interviews and executive insights. Many of the members of our community are included,
Hmm.
quoted.
Awesome.
And I think the thing I'm most proud of is the fact that, I stuck my neck out there because, you said it a few minutes ago, things are changing rapidly. In fact,
Right.
there was one chapter in the book where there's a reference, and I won't mention it. There's a reference to a company,
Hmm.
just a casual reference, and that company actually no longer exists.
Wow.
It no longer
Wow.
exists. That was from 6 months ago when I started
Huh.
writing this thing.
Yeah.
So we had to go back and remove it. It's not, it's not critical to the book, but it's a reference to a company that's already died.
Wow.
So the half-life of this thing is ridiculous. But
So what? So, Andy, what's the value to the practitioner of this book? Why? What are they going to get out of it?
yeah, so if you can see the screen, I have a bullet point here for 12-month checklist. The real value is, I think I conceptualize and contextualize what's happening in AI and B2B. So the book is not about AI and it's not about B2B. It's about AI's impact on B2B and
Right.
why practitioners, manufacturers, and distributors should care about it. We get asked all the time, hey, what's happening? What should we be investing in? What should we avoid? What's fake? What's real? What's hype? What's true? And so I thought, it's time to actually put this down on paper and come up with a philosophy and an approach. And we'll get to that in a moment. But I think the thing that's really fascinating is I said sticking my neck out there. Well, I'm making predictions about what is going to and not going to happen in the next 2 years and what's going to and not going to happen in the next 5 years. Now,
Yep. Yep.
I got to hand it to myself. That's a bold thing to do in an industry like this, where who knows what's going to happen.
That
But
is. Yep.
you and I are so close to this community. We know how these dynamics operate. And so I felt comfortable doing that, but I'm holding myself to it because they're going to be subsequent editions of this book.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you're going to have to write this every 6 months. You're going to have a new edition. I mean, Andy, do you have a copy of the book there, by the way?
I do. Actually, it's an author's copy.
Let's hold it up there. Can you hold it sideways for a second there? Let's see. Let's see here. This is my book, everyone. $1 billion B2B e-commerce. And let's look at how thick my book is compared to your book. See, this
how many people actually read your book, though, Brian? Because
dude, I've sold thousands of these, sir.
That looks like the Bible to me.
It is. Nah, I'm just teasing, Andy. It's actually it's great that you've kept it succinct, 150 pages, I think, right?
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, and I will show this too for those who can see the screen. It's in color.
Oh, cool.
And there are a lot of graphs and charts because I think we're now visually motivated, and so you can actually read this thing quickly, scan it, get some good information. Like you said, succinctly, because we've seen this, right? Remember, people used to give hour-long presentations. Then it's 30-minute presentations. Now it's like 20-minute presentations.
Right.
The attention span has shifted, and you got to get people where they live. You got to hit them where they live. And so, this is really a different design, a different approach. But it's designed to give people a sense for where I think things stand right now. And importantly, what I think they should be thinking about in the next 12, 24, 36 months.
Yeah. And that's something I think is really important when you put these books together, is you give people tactical things they can do, not just the high level. So tell us a little bit about the context or the frame up for the book. I'm showing on the screen here a quote from 50 Things That Made the Modern Economy, right? Tell us about this, Andy.
Well, I love this quote because it says the thing about a revolutionary technology is that it changes everything. That's why we call it revolutionary. And changing everything takes time, imagination, and courage. And historically, that's been the case, right? But just to put that into context, there's a picture on the screen. Did you know back in 1937, when the first grocery store introduced a shopping cart, nobody used it?
Really?
Huh. Yeah, people didn't know what it was for. And so they hired models, no joke.
Did they really?
To push the cart around the store to normalize the behavior. I mean, in hindsight, we think about that and go, there's no way that happened.
What were they doing? Carrying the groceries around? How would they?
I guess in their arms or their own bag. Now it's kind of funny. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We're back to people doing that now.
Right.
Where you just bring your own bag. But yeah, they had to hire people. So they had to get people comfortable with pushing a shopping cart around. That's crazy. My other favorite on the screen is there's a bunch of guys standing outside of elevators. Do you know who those guys are?
Yeah, they're elevator operators. Sure. Yeah.
Right. So you and I are old enough to remember. We're not that old, but we're old enough to remember. I've been on elevators with elevator operators.
Me too, Andy.
Do you want to take your teeth out and put them back in there, Brian?
Yep.
So guess what this was about? It turns out that when they first introduced elevators in big buildings, tall buildings, mostly in urban areas, because that's where the tall buildings were.
Yeah.
Nobody would get inside of them. They thought they were death traps. And think about it. Hey, you know what? You're going to get into a little box, a steel box, that's going to go up, and it
way up in the air.
Yeah. And then the worst part is going down because it could fall and crash. And so people are like, this is a death trap. I'm not doing that. So they had people inside the elevator who were there to make you feel comfortable. You figure, hey, if they're risking their life, I can risk mine.
Sure.
Funny side note, you know that little button in
Yeah.
there that has
Uh-huh.
closed door?
Yeah.
It's actually on most elevators completely disconnected from the elevator. It's
Ah,
called a placebo button. If you've
really?
ever pressed it and it doesn't seem like the door's closing, that's because it's not doing anything. They put that in there to give people a sense of control over the elevator for the same reason from,
Really?
70, 80 years ago. It's just stuck around. That's why they had Muzak to relieve people's anxiety. So
Interesting.
again, these are simple things that they had
Wow.
to get people comfortable with. So I'll bet you're thinking, well,
Yes.
Andy, you're about to tell us that if it takes this to get people comfortable with new technologies, the same thing's going to happen with AI, right?
Well,
No.
what's the answer, Andy? Okay.
Well, research has shown that we move very quickly. You and I have talked about this a
That's
lot.
what we have.
Almost
Sure.
1 billion people using ChatGPT right now.
Yeah.
AI was introduced. I mean, the first chatbot was, I think, November, December of 2022. So we're 3.5 years into this thing.
Crazy. Yeah.
And according to the research, we are in what is called the late majority phase already. So there's the
Wow.
innovator phase, the early adopters, the early majority, and those kind of collectively are about 50%.
Yeah.
And then the other 50% is the late majority and then the laggards. Those are the people like my parents who are like, I'm not going to use this thing ever. And then they get it and they're addicted to it, but they're the last people to try it, right?
Yep.
According to the research, we're pretty close to the late majority phase already.
Wow.
And
In three
so
and a
as
half
a
years.
result, what's that?
Wow. In 3.5 years. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Well, I mean, do you know anybody who's not using it?
Right. No.
I mean, I know there
Well,
are people, but
let's see.
especially
Maybe
participants
my
in the
mom,
economy.
maybe my
But
mom and dad, right?
but participants in the economy, right? Active,
Hey,
let's say
hey,
consumer
don't knock my
spending.
parents. You mocking my parents?
Well, I don't think,
They are participants in the economy. Come
I
on.
don't think they're targeting your parents with new stuff, just like my parents, same way. But where
I'm
the
just
vast majority of consumer spending is, it's like people in the 25 to 45 range.
yeah. Yeah.
Among that group, we are
Yeah.
in the late majority because everybody is using this. But here's the shocking thing.
Right.
Honestly, when I started the research, I wouldn't have expected this to be the case, but it
Right.
is. The next slide says you'd think B2C are the early adopters here. It turns
Right.
out B2B is adopting these
Wow.
AI bots at a rate of 3 to 1 faster.
Wow.
This is Forrester research.
Yeah.
Three to
Wow.
one. And if you think about it, it makes sense because, okay, we personally use AI, but if you're looking for something, you still probably go to the website. You probably
Yeah.
still want to shop and have some fun. You still go to stores, all that kind of stuff. You use
Sure.
AI to maybe get an answer to a question, right? And I think that number is increasing. But in
Wow.
B2B, where people are just about efficiency and getting things done, and a lot of companies, they're forcing people to use AI or they lose their jobs. If
Right.
you think about it that way, oh yeah, there are
Right.
people in B2B using it a lot more frequently than B2C.
89% versus 34 in B2C.
Yeah,
Amazing.
are using or plan to use generative AI tools to purchase, and it's only 34% with B2C. So that's why I wrote the book. When I saw that data, I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, this has penetrated B2B a lot faster than people recognize, and it's going to
Right.
have a much bigger impact because you and I know this. B2B buyers are about getting in and getting out. They
Right.
don't shop for fun. They
Right.
buy for their job. And
That
so
was yeah. That was a
if they
central
can
thesis
find
of my
out
book.
faster, yeah.
Yeah, removing friction, and I love the way you frame this up too, Andy, about how it started in the middle and moved out. You have this slide for those who can see it here. So it's starting in the data heavy middle and expanding outward as accuracy and trust improve. Tell us more about your theory here or what you're
Yeah,
seeing.
so there had to be a central thesis of the book, and this is it. I think I always say there's the journey of 1,000 miles. Everything in life is the journey of 1,000 miles, but in B2B, it's literally can be
Right.
1,000 miles, right? And there's the proverbial first mile, which is where people discover your product.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the proverbial last mile where the fulfillment and delivery takes place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's too much discussion in commerce, period, about the first mile and the last mile.
Mm.
When in reality, in B2B, it's these middle miles, as I call them, where
Right.
pricing and quoting and availability and order management and tracking,
Yep.
that's where agents are already in operation. So I talk to B2B companies a lot and I'm like, hey, are you guys doing AI? And they're like, not really. I'm like, well, do you have these kinds of technologies in-house? Are you using,
Yeah.
ERP? Are you using a pricing? And oh yeah, well, they're using AI, therefore you
Right.
are.
Right. That's right.
And what I think is happening though more rapidly than people recognize is that these bots are already in operation,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pushing their way out to the edges. I'll give you a great example.
Yeah.
So, pretty much big companies right now are using pricing bots to
Yep.
optimize pricing. They have agentic AI in some form or fashion
Mm-hmm.
embedded in the software they're already using that's telling
Right.
them how to maximize price, right?
Yep.
Well, that same bot is now almost customer facing. In fact, in
Mm.
some cases it is because you're going to the chat bot on the website and you're asking, "Hey, what's the price of this thing?" Well, those behind the scenes middle mile bots are now actually in some cases interacting directly with you and I because they're quoting me prices. So that's how my thesis manifests itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's pushing its way out to the edges. Now, is this the common scenario right now? No. But the fact that we're talking about it, the fact that we've even seen this happen means that it's already underway. And
Right.
I think it's going to happen faster than people recognize.
And you interviewed quite a few companies for this, Andy, right? So you have in this book, you have use cases of how companies are using the AI in that middle mile and then testing it on the edges, right? So
Yeah,
that's
there's
awesome.
a great
Mhm.
example, Cisco,
Yeah.
SYSCO, the food
Uh-huh.
distributor.
Food,
They
yeah, the
announced
food
something
company.
called Shop and Save, I think it is, or
Mhm.
something and Save. I've forgotten the name of it. But they're using AI bots to make recommendations for substitutions on cuisine.
Right.
So I'm a restaurant, I'm looking for,
Mm.
a side dish, and it might say, "Oh, have you thought about this?"
Cool.
And that's coming from an AI analysis. And so again, that was always happening, or it's recently has been happening behind the scenes. They had software that was doing
Right.
that internally. Now it's pushing its way out to the edges.
That's really neat. That is really cool. So what's over the horizon?
Yeah, so I told you we actually have the idea that there's a 2-year and 5-year window. The 2-year window is what I call on the horizon,
Yep.
and then the 5-year window is what we call over the horizon. So I
Mhm.
just threw out some titles here. We will be talking about these, I think, in the years to come. But things like headless distributors. A headless
Right.
distributor is essentially a distributor that is
Mhm.
only selling to machines. There's
Amazon
actually this
Business.
concept. Yeah, there are people who think that, in a couple of years, you might have a distributor that isn't interacting with
Right.
humans really. It's
Right.
just
Right.
bot to bot selling. As the buy side gets more sophisticated, the sell side reacts to that, and it's
Amazing.
just bot to bot interaction. That's what it's called, a headless distributor. I think most people think, "Oh, that's not going to happen." You don't think so? Because
Mm.
that leads to another thing, which is these super apps. You and I have talked about this, like Claude Cowork. OpenAI is launching one, and these are apps that you and I, as individuals, will be using soon that essentially take over our desktop,
Yeah.
prioritize our work,
Ooh.
make recommendations, and increasingly we'll just say, "Okay, do you want me to do this?" And we'll just be approvers.
Yeah.
Well, this is happening fast, and I'm sure you've seen it. There are people like early adopters on LinkedIn who are already organizing their day around these super apps.
Wow.
Well, imagine in the not too distant future where professional buyers have a super app.
Right.
And that thing, you walk into the office every day and it says, "Jim, here are the 5 things you need to do today. This has to be done by this time. I need you to approve this. I've already arranged 5 quotes. Here's the one I recommend. Would you like
Yeah.
me to move forward on this?" That
Wow.
is going to happen.
Mhm.
It's just a question of when, right? And then, of course, that leads to other questions around, bot triaging, hyper local inventory optimization, which is bots moving stuff around. This is also happening right now. Figuring out where to pre-position inventory.
Yep. Yep.
Amazon does this, right?
Yep.
So you ever notice when you go buy something, it's like this one's available in 2 hours and this one's unavailable for 2 days. Why is that? Well, it's in a closer warehouse. That's
Right.
why.
Right. Yeah, that's the fascinating thing, and I mean, then that's actually an advantage on the e-com side that Amazon has, is because it controls the infrastructure and the inventory as well as, the AI they're deploying. So this is fascinating. I guess my question is my 14-year-old going to have a job?
No, you're going to be supporting him the rest of your life. Is that what you want
Okay,
to say?
great, awesome, Andy. This is just fascinating stuff, man. I'm excited to see the book. It's coming soon, right? And it'll be available where? once it's available?
It's going to be available on Amazon. It'll be available on Kindle.
Okay.
It's only going to be in paperback
Yep.
because I don't see a point in producing a hardback book.
Right.
But it's paperback. It's very readable. We think it's a good step in the right direction. And like I said, very importantly, next year probably a second edition. The year after that, a third edition. So it's more long because this is not going anywhere. I mean, I guarantee you, we may be taking our teeth out. We may have walkers in 30, 40 years, but there's just no way that this isn't the future of B2B commerce. That it isn't going to be bots doing a lot of this work.
And you're going to sell this thing on Amazon, right? Is that where it's going to be sold?
It's going to be sold on Amazon. Yep.
Okay, got to tell people that, or else they'll just be wandering the interweb looking for.
It's not there yet, but it will be there in a couple of weeks.
Well, we'll look for the announcement, and once it's available, we'll get it up on our website and in our Friday 15 as well. Well, folks, we got to leave it there, Andy. For time's sake, a couple quick announcements. Want to remind everyone we have our Master B2B Nexus service, which is a paid service for practitioners. Expert advice instantly available to you with from a panel of expert advisors as well as your peers. This helps you to avoid making the wrong decision, getting you the right resources, getting you the right strategy for your business or B2B. Go to our website, masterbdb.com, and check it out. Go to Nexus. And finally, want to remind everyone that our podcast is available, or our Friday 15 is available in podcast form on your favorite service. So check it out on our website or Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever. So, Andy, any final words before we wrap our Friday 15 this week?
Yeah, I think Jared's going to kill us because
we're almost 30
he's
minutes
not here, and so the cat was away, so the mice played, and
that's right,
like 30 minutes.
That's right. Yep. Sorry, Jared. You can yell at us next week. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us today on our Friday, almost 30. Hope you enjoyed the show. It was a great conversation. Thanks, Andy. Congratulations on the book, and we'll see you next week.